to Accelerate Your Wealth, a podcast by Rebecca Robertson, founder and director of Evolution Financial Planning. We hope you enjoy the show, and please feel free to leave us a review. It really does help. Feel free to connect with us on Facebook, LinkedIn and Instagram, or head over to www.rebeccarobertson.co.uk or our sponsor, Evolution Financial Planning, for regulated advice on www.evolutionfinancialplanning.co.uk/podcast.
Hey, it's Rebecca here, and welcome back. I'm back. It's been 6 months. I can't believe the last 6 months have gone so fast. And I'm joined with my new podcast mic that if you're watching on video, you will see in all its glory. It was only like 30 odd quid from a particular online company beginning with an A that got delivered today, even I ordered it yesterday. So I won't promote that particular online company. I don't think they need it. I think we all spend far too much with them already. That's a whole other subject. I should do a podcast on how to stop spending money on that online website beginning with an A. There is actually, thinking about it, there is actually alternatives and other ways that you can go about doing things, but I needed this really quickly. So anyway, one of the things I love about podcasts is that you can just end up talking about so many different things. And I've missed doing my podcast for that reason. But back in October when I paused, I was in massive overwhelm and I needed to pause lots of different things. And I think sometimes when you're in that overwhelmed state, you have to shift back, take things back, move things that off your plate and just let things sit. Do the things you have to do to get, just get life ticking along, keep going. But the extras, the add-ons, the things you maybe just do for fun or the things you do for just added value sometimes have to stop. So back in October, this was, I did a podcast in August about the cost of living crisis, episode 80. And I talked about what was going to happen over the next sort of 6 to 8 months. And it's really interesting because actually most of it has happened, apart from Liz Truss in October, which I spoke about, I think in my last podcast, episode 91. And we, at that point, episode 91, we didn't know who the new Prime Minister was going to be. And I talked about inflation and I talked about what was going to happen this year. And I talked about bank base rate. And most of it is happened. But at that time for me, it was extremely overwhelming. 1, to keep up with it all. 2, to help all my clients. And 3, I was going through a bit of a transition myself about what I wanted for myself and the business for 2023. So I'm back and I'd love to share with you now some of those decisions that I've made, and just a little update on the podcast and what I'm going to be doing going forward. So I try and keep my podcast to value and really to the point so that you don't get lots of waffle. I hate listening to podcasts and there's loads of waffle. But what I wanted to do today was just to give you an update on what's been going on. So in comparison to how I was feeling in October, I feel amazing now. I'm feeling in a much better place. I did a lot of work on myself last October, and I had a really nice break over the Christmas period, came back in the new year feeling really refreshed. And one of the things I was looking at in those sort of October, November, December time, I must have had 40 to 50 meetings, deciding what I was going to do in terms of was I going to go directly authorised and leave my existing network and go to the FCA directly as a directly authorised financial advisor, taking my company with me, of course, or was I going to do something completely different? Was I going to work for another company? Was I going to take my clients with me but not work under my company brand, which is Evolution Financial Planning? I literally turned over every single rock and reviewed every single option, because I really felt that it was time for me to make some bigger decisions. It was a really interesting process. And what was interesting is I learned my value. So I learned that what the value was in my business and what was sustaining financially sustaining the assets and what was creating my future wealth. And that allowed me to sort of think about more my long-term strategy. And as a business owner, it's allowed me to think about my exit, my not my retirement as such, but how long do I want to be doing what I'm doing, and which is not finishing anytime soon, but what's my strategy in terms of how I want to grow the company and what direction I want to take things. I'd already decided earlier on in 2022 that I was going to focus on my regulated business. I stopped doing most of my non-regulated business, and I wanted to focus on growing my regulated business. And as I went through this process of interviews and discussions and meetings, I started to become very clear on what I needed to be doing to assist that process. So on the 1st of February, I got everything sort of lined up and positioned, and I gave notice to my existing network. So I'm I'm an appointed representative of a network. And I felt that all the right reasons for joining them, and all the right reasons for leaving them. And I feel that the new network that I'm moving to, which will be live as I'm recording this next week, so this is beginning of April, so by the time you're listening to this, it would be done. I hope, third time lucky, is my third network that they're going to be, and so far their language is different, the way they want to work with you is different, the way they want to support you is different. It's all about outcome, delivering an outcome for the client, which is very much what I'm about, and less about the company's shareholding price and how their shareholders are going to be happy. It's more about the advisor and how the advisor is going to be more efficient in supporting and helping their clients. So I'm really excited about that shift. And since I've made that decision, my energy, I feel like I've been released and I'm sort of back on the right path. So all of that's starting to settle down. We're literally, it's the 5th of April as I'm recording this, so we're at the end of tax year. It's been a really busy few weeks, getting everything organised for clients and for new clients as well. And Katie and my team has been amazing. So we've also simplified things. So I had 2 different email systems that were sending out 2 different kinds of emails to different people, one on the regulated, one on the non-regulated. I've simplified that, and I'm using one system, and I'm just sending out 1 email each week, which is basically an update from me. It's called The Stables. And if you want to subscribe, I can pop a link in the show notes. You can come and listen to that. And that's where you'll hear about me updating you what's going on in my little life and down at the stables on a weekly basis. So that's what's been going on with us. I've bought my daughter a new horse, both of which, my horse and her horse, both have had operations in the last 2 or 3 months. So that's been an interesting time, lots of stress involved. Other than that, life's been good in terms of how it's been treating us. Like most, everything's costing so much, and so I'm having to be much more careful on my spending, just because even a simple trip to the cinema, for example, is costing you an arm and a leg, and therefore you don't have as much surplus to do anything extra, anything more. So I'm being much more conscious with my spending. In terms of the podcast, I did a quick review of when it started. So it actually started in 2015, and I only did a couple of episodes and then I paused it. And then I brought it back in I think 2020. And then there was a period where we had a pause. We did actually, I think, 16 episodes, and then it restarted again under a new brand, which is the brand as it stands right now. Before that was slightly different branding. And then we started again with episode 1. So we've actually done 16 episodes and then another 91 episodes. So we're well over 100 episodes now. But in terms of the sequence from when we restarted, this is episode 92, and this is my first one in 2023. To give you a bit of an idea, we're currently at 18,327 downloads, but I know that actually in my lifetime it's more than that. So back in November time, I actually got hacked. This podcast got hacked. It was, oh my God, so stressful. I don't know how it happened. I don't quite know who done it, but I've got an inkling that I might know who it was. but I don't know that for a fact. And basically they systematically went in and deleted every single show. I had to get onto Twitter to get the platform that was hosting it to do anything about it. Good old Twitter came to my rescue, and I had like a managing director or top executive get involved. Meant that I could, like basically I've got it resolved. They were telling me it couldn't be reignited and put back on again, and it was done within a few days. So with that, I did lose quite a few thousand downloads. Somehow I've missed some. So we're currently at 18,000. So if you like the podcast, this is the first time, not the first time you listen to it, but the first time that you've, what am I trying to say? Not the first time you've listened to it. If you're used to my podcast and you're a bit of I have some people that literally just sit and absorb all of them all in one go. So if you love my podcast and you really enjoy it, I got told the other day it was exceptional good. It was exceptionally amazing. That if you like it, please do leave a review, because it then tells iTunes or Spotify that it's a decent podcast. And in terms of the algorithm, then it will share it with other people. And also, if you can share it in your communities, or you can share it with on your socials, I would greatly appreciate it, because if there's especially if there's a particular episode that you like and why you liked it, and you put some sort of value in terms of like a story behind why you like it, that's always really helpful. I would love to get my downloads back up again, and by the end of this year I'd like to try and hit 30,000, which sounds like a lot, I know. I'm currently at 18, but I think we could get to 20 relatively quickly with a little bit of a push, and then we've got 6 months left of the year. I'd love to get to 10,000 downloads. It's a big number, but I'd love your help in achieving that. But at the end of the day, the main thing that I'm all about is adding value. So if you're finding the podcast is great, do leave a review and let me know, because I don't always see them. And it will mean that I know what you're enjoying and what you're loving about it. But of course, email me. So you can email me at giving you the right one, rebecca@rebeccarobertson.co.uk. And if there's anything you want to hear about, or particularly you liked hearing about, want to hear more of, then please do let me know, and then I know where to focus my conversation, because I can talk forever. My dad always said when I was growing up, that mouth of yours is going to get you in trouble one of these days, Rebecca. He shouted to me so many times that, and here I am, actually talking is all I do, and I talk to clients all day every day, and that's how I earn my money. So actually it's not got me in trouble, it's done great things for me. In terms of our podcast, I was looking at what our top 5 or top downloads are. And number 1 is episode 81, which is called Your Network is Your Net Worth. And that's got an astonishing 1,364 downloads. I don't know quite why that rang a bell, but it's all about networking, your business network, and how you value the people around you, and the way that you can build your net worth with your network. Number 2 is actually my intro from like 2015. That's 267 downloads. So the massive difference between the first and the second. And then at number 3, which is around the same figure, just a couple of less, is episode, it's not 91, I think it's number 4. Number 4 in the second series that we started. We should have just carried on with the numbers. So it's way back, how to start investing. And then number 4 is the 6 stages of wealth. This is episode 4, but this is right at the beginning, episode 4. A bit confusing, I know. That's just around like 240 downloads. And then number 5 is actually with Dr. Joanna Martin, around the 230 downloads. And that's episode 2. So it's one of the first ones I ever did. And that's the lady that runs One of Many. They have a conference coming up in May. I've sent out an email to my existing clients with some free tickets. But if you really fancy it, and I'm in a good mood, and I've got some, more tickets available, then get in touch and I'll see what I can do for you. that's the top 5, those. And then very closely behind them is Coming Back to Me, which is a episode, I want to say 78, I think. Yeah. I've got lots of notes in front of me, so I'm just reading off them. Episode 78, and this is with Star Monroe. But I would probably say social media wise, I have the most comments and feedback about Star, and Star's going to be coming back on. I'm also going to ask Joe back on for, I think, the 3rd time for Joe. I think Joe, there's another episode where we talked, it was a wealth, I did a webinar and we reused that as a part of another podcast. So Joe's in here a few times. She's really, really great around mindset and psychology. And Star is a psychologist. Is that the right word? I think she's a psychologist, but she's all about midlife crisis and about how, as women, we're sort of given an expectation of how we should look, feel, do things. And Star breaks all those barriers and some. So episode 78 is definitely worth listening to. And then the one after that, which is very, very close, was the episode 91, the last episode I did in October 2022, which was around investing. And I talk about when is a good time to start investing. So those are some of our top 7, if you like, episodes from the last couple of years. And so go and check those out, see what you think, and I'd love to hear what you think of them. What's coming up for us over the next few months is I'm going to be doing 4 episodes a month, so in May, June and July. I'm going to break in August, and then 4 episodes in September, October, November, and then a break in December. So that's how we're going to run the podcasts for the rest of this year. And what's going on for me is it's the summer holidays. No, it's not. It's the Easter holidays. I am working. No rest for the wicked, unfortunately. But I do have, hopefully, going to get a week off. There's a lot to organise with our network change. And I'm really looking forward to all of that. In terms of the regulated business, I have increased our fees. I think I worked out about 8%. It wasn't as high as inflation. And so that comes into play sort of next week. And there's a lot of work to do for what's called a novation over the next few months, where we novate clients over from one company to the other. Thankfully, there's nothing for our clients to worry about or do. It's all back office admin, and all our clients have been written to. That's about it. I'm looking forward to the spring and the summer and enjoying being outdoors and continuing to look at how I can grow and pivot the business. So we are going to go back to having an office space, which we've been doing 1 day a week for the last 2 or 3 months. And then we're going to go to 2 days a week. And then I'm looking at an apprenticeship, taking on an apprentice, which I've done before, very successfully, quite a few years ago now, about 5 or 6 years ago now. And that will be there to help Katie in the office. And then I'm also going to be recruiting a new self-employed advisor to join the team with experience. And then possibly in the new year, so next year, then I'll look on to take on a trainee, somebody with industry experience, but not necessarily advisor experience. So that's our plans going forward. And if you need any financial advice, then obviously you can go over to evolutionfinancialplanning.co.uk. So this is the update from our first episode back. So episode, I guess this is 92 technically on the list. And welcome to the 2023 show. And what's going to happen next? What am I going to talk about next? I don't know. I will figure that out in just a minute. I like to see where the energy goes, and it will just flow. So enjoy the rest of your day whenever you're listening to this, and do keep in touch. Take care.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Accelerate Your Wealth. For further help or to connect with Rebecca directly, please head over to the website www.rebeccarobertson.co.uk, where you can find further information on our planner, book, and how to further maximise your wealth. Our sponsor, Evolution Financial Planning, for regulated advice on pensions, investments, mortgages, insurances on www.evolutionfinancialplanning.co.uk/podcast.